what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. I've got a couple of interesting stories for you guys today. The first story that I've got for you guys, the latest physique update from Sergio Oliva Jr. at just over 2 weeks out. From the Arnold Classic South America, also known as the Arnold Classic Brazil, which is the show that he told me was the show he was interested in doing. And this was the prep that was interrupted by the traffic incident that he had in Dubai, which led to him being imprisoned for a number of days. But it also led to this complication of this potential fine that he might have to pay of like $50,000, which he's still waiting to figure out if his insurance will cover it or not. And if not, he's probably not going to be able to make it to compete at the Arnold Classic South America. But he posted this physique update, a front lat spread and also a side chest, where I actually think he looks pretty good. A lot of people are commenting that he looks downsized, which I agree with. I do think he looks downsized. I do think he looks smaller. Is that necessarily a bad thing? Time will tell. I think the last time we saw him on stage at the Legion Sports Festival, he was weighing like somewhere around 280 pounds. So we know he's no small bodybuilder. And he says what you can control, change, and what you can't control, accept. And he says in this update, he's still weighing 288 pounds or 131 kilos. So even though a lot of people are commenting that he looks smaller, and I do agree, I do think he looks a little bit downsized, it could just be that he looks flat. It could just be a result of, all this stress that he's had. It could be a result of the interruption of his prep, being imprisoned in Dubai. And like I said, this is 2 weeks out, and at the Legion show, I think he was around 280, so if anything, he's probably heavier here at 2 weeks out than he was at the Legion show. And he also posted these two updates 5 days ago, where he says, people don't really care about what you're going through. They just hope you're okay enough to still come through when they need you. And these updates, he's not actually posing. It's just kind of a casual gym shot. And again, people were commenting that here he looks smaller, and I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing. I know that one of his goals after Legion, he said, was to bring down the waist size, was to bring down the distension in the midsection. And at least in that front lat spread shot, it certainly looks like he's done that. And honestly, Sergio is one of my favorite bodybuilders for a number of reasons, but the biggest one being is he is the son of Sergio Oliva Sr. He is right now the only active pro bodybuilder that's the son of a Mr. Olympia champion that is a top-tier pro. This is a guy that is a top 10 Olympian. He is a guy that does really well. He can win shows, and he is a legacy bodybuilder, the son of a Mr. Olympia champion. You've got Hunter Labrada, but Lee Labrada never won a Mr. Olympia. So Sergio is a very unique situation, and he's actually good. And then you've got a little bit of an extra element there that he's got the exact same name as his dad, which makes it even cooler. And obviously, he's his own man. He's his own bodybuilder. He's not his dad, which is actually the other thing that I like about him, because a lot of people compare his physique against his dad and say, well, your dad was better than you in this way, that way, whatever. I actually like the fact that he's got a different physique than his dad. Completely different, I think. Because you don't have a guy here that's just trying to be a carbon copy of Sergio Oliva Sr. You've got a guy trying to be his own bodybuilder and make his own name for himself and kind of, I think, get out from the shadow of his dad's legacy, which I think is even cooler of a story. So I, for one, I'm excited to see the Sergio Oliva comeback. It's something I've been waiting for a while. I was hoping, actually, maybe we would get to see it at the Arnold Classic, because I think that's a really cool show for him to continue to do because of the fact that him and his dad and Arnold were such rivals, and to see Sergio do that show and do well, I think is cool. But maybe next year. Let me know what you guys think about Sergio Oliva Jr. and how he's looking in the comments down below. Now, next up in the news, we did get a physique update from none other than Flex Lewis. So Flex says here that over the past several months, he's lost over 60 pounds, just under 60 pounds, actually. And he says that his weight is currently around 200 pounds. The lightest he's been is 196. His goal now is to put on a little bit more size, 210 to 215. And in this update, a lot of people were talking about, is there a chance that Flex does the Masters Olympia? And there's a pretty simple answer to that question. No, not this year, because the age limit is 40 plus to compete at the Masters Olympia, and the cutoff to submit an application for the Masters Olympia is in just 2 weeks. April 10th is the cutoff. The Masters Olympia itself is August 25th through 27th, 2023, and Flex Lewis is 39, and he will be 40 this year, but not until November, so he's going to be well after the April cutoff of submitting an intent to compete, and he's actually going to be 40 after the actual competition. But if the Masters Olympia continues, I could see that as a possibility. And I think that's an interesting thing to consider, because I very much think that this year's Master Olympia coming back is a little bit of an experiment, because it hasn't happened since 2012, so over a decade it's been gone. And back then, they didn't have all these divisions. So even when they were having it and it was successful or semi-successful, they didn't have to split prize money amongst 10 divisions. And again, the prize money this year is going to be $229,000 split across 10 divisions. Again, I'm assuming that the top 5 in each division gets paid like they usually do. So $229,000 split 50 ways: wellness, bikini, fitness, men's physique, classic physique, women's physique, figure, open bodybuilding, 212, and women's bodybuilding. And the winner of the Masters Olympia can earn a qualification to the 2023 Olympia, the regular open Olympia, if we're talking about bodybuilding. So anyway, the point is, I think this is a little bit of an experiment this year if it works, because realistically, I'm interested to see how many competitors actually compete or submit an intent to compete in each division and how competitive each division is, because again, there's 10, and some of these divisions that are so new, like classic physique, even men's physique and bikini, to have someone over 40 or to have a lot of people over 40 doesn't seem super likely, or for the lineup to be super competitive. Like men's physique, or classic physique rather, has only been around since 2016. How many classic physique pros right now are really over 40 and really competitive? So I do think that this Masters Olympia thing is a bit of an experiment this year, and there is a chance, I think, that there won't be one next year if it doesn't go well. So will we ever see Flex Lewis back on stage? That remains to be seen. But it won't be this year because he doesn't fit in that age bracket. So if he did, it would have to be next year. So a lot of people sending me this already, saying Masters Olympia, Masters Olympia. Flex isn't that old, guys. Now, speaking of the Masters Olympia, a lot of people were showing me this clip from Primetime Muscle, which is a original, it's like a program that's on the Olympia TV YouTube channel. And in this little snippet, Tarek says, if you want to see the biggest name in bodybuilding, you're going to want to tune in or get your tickets to the Masters Olympia. And the other host there, I'm not exactly sure what his name is, but he says it might rhyme, the name rhymes with Butler. And then in the comments, or in the caption, it says, we can't say any names. Stay tuned for more info on the Olympia TV YouTube channel.
We can't say any names,
for sure,
but I'm telling you, if you live in Europe and you want to finally see the biggest, and I mean the biggest star,
who could that be?
In bodybuilding, go right now.
Who could that be?
And book your ticket to Cluj-Napoca, because it might be your chance to see the biggest stars in bodybuilding. They're going to make a presence at the Masters Olympia.
So no guarantees, but one of them might rhyme with Butler.
So some people were taking this clip as official confirmation that Jay Cutler is going to compete in the Masters Olympia. Obviously, we saw this physique update from him the other day that we were talking about on the channel, where he looks really impressive. He's 49. He's going to be 50 around the time of the Masters Olympia, and he's doing this big transformation for his 50th birthday, where right now is kind of the starting point. So this posing video that we're looking at is just kind of the beginning. And then you get this little teaser coming directly from the Olympia, their own media, whatever you would call this, their own media show, organization, whatever Primetime Muscle is considered. But I actually don't think this is official confirmation that Jay is going to do it, which is why they didn't say any names. I think this was just a way of trying to promote the Masters Olympia, which is fine, but I don't think this is the official confirmation that Jay is going to do it. I think there's a really good case to be made for why Jay should or could do it. But I think the interesting thing to do here is to expand the conversation outside of former Olympia champs, because they're already qualified for life for the Open Olympia. If Jay wanted to jump in the Open, he could. I think the interesting part of this Masters Olympia conversation is what I mentioned earlier, and that is the fact that the winner of the Masters Olympia could qualify for the Open Olympia. So you got to start to think about guys that might be in that age range, 40 plus or in their 50s or mid to late 40s, whatever, that are potentially doing the Masters Olympia that could be legends of the sport. If they're able to win, they could find themselves in the Open Olympia, which I think would be pretty interesting. So I guess the interesting question to you guys is, aside from Jay and other guys that might have won the Olympia, what legendary bodybuilders that might fall in that Masters age category would you like to see compete in the Masters Olympia and maybe qualify to compete in the Open? Get creative here and let me know in the comments down below. Now, the final story that I wanted to touch on in this video, a lot of people are talking about this guy, William Martins. This guy is obviously a pro bodybuilder. He's weighing 154 kilos, 339 pounds. A lot of people referring to him right now as the next big Ramy. He's a really young guy. He's in his mid-20s. And one of the reasons why a lot of people are comparing him to Big Ramy, obviously, is the massive body weight of 339 pounds. I think he's around the same height as Ramy, so he's not like a super tall guy. It's not like that's the reason why he's weighing 339, but he's also working with Chad Nichols, who's the same coach as Big Ramy, and you can see in some of these updates, he is carrying a pretty impressive amount of size, especially for such a young guy. Now, obviously, I think from a size standpoint, he's a really impressive bodybuilder, but I want to remind people that weight isn't everything. What you see on the scale isn't everything, and size isn't everything, because I don't think he has the greatest structure. I think he's got a really, really thick midsection. You can see it in this post here. You can see it in the front double bicep. You can see it in that front lat spread. Really, really thick, and that comes with the size. And granted, this is an off-season update, so it's not a super fair shot. But I am excited to see what the future holds for him because, like I said, for such a young guy, he's huge. And he's working with really the coach of the freaks, Chad Nichols. But this isn't like the same thing as Samson Dowda. Like we saw Samson in the 330s in the offseason, but he had a really, really good structure for a guy that was that size, really small waist, and still maintained a pretty aesthetic physique at 336. And I don't really think that's as much the case with William Martins, even though he's very impressive and he carries an impressive amount of size. I'm not seeing that same, structure that lends itself to holding that much size and not sacrificing, lines and shape to carry that much extra tissue. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. That's going to wrap it up for the video today, guys. I hope you did, in fact, enjoy it. Make sure you leave a like. Make sure you subscribe. All that good stuff. And as always, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Nick Strength and Power signing out. All right, guys, don't forget to click that like button and subscribe to this channel if you enjoy the content. Also, check out my Instagram at Nick Strength Power. My Facebook page, which is simply Nick Strength and Power. My secondary YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Vlogs, for vlogs and bonus content that you will not see on this channel. And consider subscribing to my third YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Pokemon, which is all things Pokemon and trading card games, completely unrelated to this channel. So if you're into that, give that one a look. And all links to merchandise and social media will be in the description box below. If you guys want a Nick Strength and Power t-shirt, that will be in the Shopify link below. Have a great day.